This episode will be different. I want to talk deeper about the perfect skin tone, what does the word perfect means in this case. I will show you my indicator lot and how to understand what it's indicating, also share my experience and all the information that I've learned through all the research and examples from a real and a cinema world. So let's talk about that from a colorist's point of view. The questions of this episode are: what is the skin tone? The perfect skin tone understanding, the main mistakes we do when trying to get the best skin tones, what is the skin indicator lot, how it works and how to deal with its information, understanding the skin as the reflective surface, and why the dark night scenes in the movies look bluish with the bluish skin tones. Let's start from the basics. What actually the skin tone is? To answer this question, let's firstly dive deeper into biological facts. Human skin color ranges from the darkest brown to the lightest hues. Differences in skin color among individuals is caused by variation in pigmentation, which is the result of genetics, exposure to some disorders, or some combinations of them. The actual skin color of different humans is affected by many substances, although the single most important substance is the pigment melanin. Melanin is produced within the skin in cells called melanocytes, and is the main determinant of the skin color of darker skinned humans. The skin color of people with light skin is determined mainly by bluish-white connective tissue under the dermis, and by the hemoglobin circulating in the veins of the dermis. The red color underlying the skin becomes more visible, especially in the face, when as consequence of the physical exercise or stimulation of the nervous system like anger or embarrassment. Color and its density is not entirely uniform across an individual's skin. For example, the skin of the palm and sole is lighter than most other skin, and this is especially noticeable in darker-skinned people. So understanding these facts, we can tell that there are no same skin tones. Everyone is individual, but there's a color hue range where all the skin tones are falling in. And as a colorist, we have a vector scope skin tone indicator line. It means that in natural lighting conditions like daylight, our eyes recognize all skin tones in that range. Once again, not on that line only, but in the range of this line. So what is the perfect skin tone? There is no one perfect skin tone, they are all a bit different in hues, density, saturation, that can vary even depending on the season of the year. By saying the perfect skin tone, I mean perfect skin hue separation in highlights, midtones and shadows of the skin. The main mistake I've done before and think that most of us been doing was getting all the skin tones pushed towards the skin tone indicator line, that way thinking that it's correct, but it's not. We're just compressing the skin color range and making it look unnatural and flat. Let's take a look on this image. This image was graded already, but it's just a good example of how nicely spread the skin tone is. Just look at the vector scope, how skin hues transitions from the greenish yellow in the highlights to orange in midtones and magenta reds in the shadows. That is the richness of this perfect skin tone. But if we'll go and push the whole skin tone towards the skin tone indicator line in our vector scope, something like here in hue versus hue, let's just push the reds down a bit and the oranges up. Yes, something like that. Look at the vector scope now. Yes, we get the whole skin tone sitting on the line, but as I told you before, by doing this we just compressed and flattened the skin and it looks unnatural now. Look at it. Before and after. Before and after. So do not miss that color spread in your skin. To understand it better, let me show you my skin tone indicator lot that I've created and use it a lot. This lot works in any software like DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, Photoshop, and so on. There is just a one rule. Apply this lot as the last node or adjustment layer after Rec 709 conversion and make all the adjustments before this lot. It's mainly as an indicator to getting the correct skin tones and separation before you go to your creative look. Then after all of your adjustments, just turn off or delete this lot. This lot is available by the link in the description of this video. So how does it work? It separates the skin tone and indicates that in colors. It shows the hue value only, not luminosity or saturation. The orange color is indicating what area sits exactly on the skin tone indicator line in the vector scope, and that should be usually our skin midtones. Skin highlights in natural daylight conditions should be usually pushed more to the greenish yellow side, and skin shadow areas should be more magenta red. Let's come back to our mistake and push the whole skin tone towards the skin tone indicator line in the vector scope and just check what the lot indicating in this case. As you see, the lot shows that the whole skin is sitting in the orange area and has no color separation. It looks more like fake or plastic here, so we should always get that separation in our skin to make it look natural and beautiful. Let's analyze movie still. This one is from the Wolf of the Wall Street movie. It's not too pushed, not too specific, so we could check how the skin tones look here. Let's add our LUT. Do you see how the skin separation looks? Look at the highlights, midtones, and shadows. As it was supposed, highlights are falling to the yellowish-green hue, midtones are correct orange, and the shadows are more magenta red. Just realize, as if the skin would be one flat orange here. It would look cheap for sure. Look at this, how flat his skin looks. We've lost all its color richness. And once again, with all that color separations, look how nice reddish tone in his face, lips, and how greenish yellow his arm highlights are. Beautiful, just beautiful. As you see, this LUT helps even more in the shots where you have multiple people. You can analyze all of their skin tones at once. And also you can use this LUT to analyze movie stills, to see where them are pushed to, and so on. We should also always pay attention on an environment of the location where the shot was done. Our skin is a reflective surface that can reflect light and colors and change its hues and saturation. Very light colored skin reflects more colors of light, but very dark skin absorbs most colors and reflects only a little, resulting in dark brown and black hues escaping. Let's take a look on this example. In this case, we have a green grass that makes a reflection on her skin, and it's perfect and natural to have her skin greenish here. Let's turn on the LUT. We see that there's a green reflection tint on her skin. We don't have to jump to our secondary adjustments and try to correct that. These reflections make her look very natural in this scene. Here's the next example. We have a party in the club here with a lot of different color practical lights. We will never have a correct skin tone here, because all of these lights reflecting on her skin and changing skin color. And it's natural, it's perfect in this case. Okay, now let's take a look on some night scene movie stills in the cinema world, why they are usually having that overall bluish tone, and the skin tones are bluish too. To explain that, let's dive deeper into science. The color of moonlight, particularly around the full moon, appears bluish to the human eye compared to other brighter light sources due to the Parkinge effect. The blue or silver appearance of the light is an illusion, but we see it that way. And movie directors and colorists are creatively pushing them towards the blue or teal. Humans can see in the dark only if there's some starlight or better moonlight, but the Kelvin scale measurements of moonlight is 4100 Kelvin, which on the scale is actually warmer than sunlight, even though we typically think of moonlight as a cold light. But why? Human eyes detect light with two different kinds of cells, rods and cones. Rods simply detect light, not color. Cones are sensitive to particular wavelengths of light and separate out small blue, medium green, and long red. The other colors are made by blending these wavelengths. At low light levels, only your rods will activate, and the world will be a series of shadows and silhouettes. But a small light is introduced, the small cones may be activated, and you'll start to see little bit of blue first. So that is the theory of why we do not see the skin tones in the dark environment scenarios, and we don't have to see them in our color grade because it's natural appearance to our eyes. So when we know all of that information, we can use it creatively in our color grading workflow. Let's jump and grade one shot as an example. Okay, so this one is shot on Blackmagic Pocket 4K. I have my simple note tree prepared for this shot already. As always, my CST in is conversion to DaVinci White Gamut color space, so input color space is Blackmagic Design 4K Video Gen 3. Input gamma, Blackmagic Design 4K Film to DaVinci White Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate. And also my CST out is DaVinci White Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate to Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. Okay, so first of all I want to create some contrast in this image. Darken my midtones and shadows, so I would grab my gamma wheel and push it down, not too much, like so. Then also a bit down with my lift to darken my shadows here. And I want to add more highlights, so push my gain up like that. Let's add some contrast. Okay, something like that. So let's take a look at before and after, before and after. To check the skin tones, I would add my indicator LUT as the last node. I want to see where the skin tones are pushed to and also skin color separation. So let's add the LUT. Okay, I see that her skin tones and overall image are pushed towards the green. As I talked before, in this natural lighting environment, I want to have greenish yellow tones in the skin highlights, orange in skin midtones, and magenta red in skin shadows. Here I see that everything is green in highs and mids and orange in shadows. So to reduce the green and introduce magenta in the shadows, I'll remove some green from my offset, something like that. Okay, I'm getting that green in highlights, orange in midtones, and magenta in shadows now. And I also feel that image is a bit too warm. I see it here. So I would also remove some red from my offset too, like so. Let's check it before and after, before and after. But dark areas are still a bit too warm here. So I would like to remove some red in my lift, just a little bit. And the green down too. Okay. But add some red in gamma. Fine. So before and after, before and after. I like how the skin tones are separated now. Let's turn off the indicator LUT. So we had this image before the adjustments, and this is after. As you see, I've corrected the skin tone and removed the overall green tint before and after. It looks better for me now. Okay, still feel that my blacks are still too red, so I would correct that in my correction node. I would go to the log wheels, reduce lower range a bit, grab my reds in the shadows and push them down, like that. You can see it even in the LUT, before blacks correction and after. Then became a bit greener here, so I would also push the green channel also down a bit and we'll leave it maybe like that. Okay, look again at before and after. It's a subtle change, but it looks better for sure. Okay, so let's go to the secondaries. I don't think I want to do any strong adjustments here. I would maybe better add some S-curve for better contrast and also compress my highlights a bit. So I'll push my overall highlight down, then add a point here and push it up, and also slightly down in my lower mids, like so, and down in the shadows too, not too much. Okay, it's really subtle change, before and after. Let's switch to our look node now. Here I would want to introduce some cyan in my shadows and get some better color separation in the image. So in case to get that, I have to remove some red in my lift. That will introduce the cyan color, but still not too green. So let's remove some greens too, and maybe add some red back in my gamma. Okay, and remove some more reds and blacks. We'll do that in the log wheels. Reduce blacks range and drop down the reds in the shadow wheel. Okay, so let's take a look at these look adjustments. Before and after, before and after. I don't want to create any strong look here, just add little bit of color separation. Now let's go to the glow node. It will add more cinematic look to an image. As always, I'll select the soft light effect, push shine threshold to 0 and make a bit less spread, something like 0.20. Okay, I feel it's a bit too bright, so I will drop the gain a little bit down, and gamma too, like so, and also a bit less in the saturation. Fine. Okay, let's go to the global blend slider, but firstly check how strong the glow is affecting an image. Yes, it's too strong for me, so I would drop down the global blend slider to reduce glow effect, and I don't also want to affect my blacks, so I would mark an alpha limits effect, go to qualifiers and remove it from the darks. Soften a bit, like so, and let's see what it's affecting. It's still a bit too strong. I will remove more shadows, like that. So check it before and after. I really love the softness and saturation that glow adds to an image. It looks way more cinematic now. Okay, let's turn on our LUT again and analyze the skin. As it shows, I get that nice orange hue in my midtones, greenish yellow in the highlights, and magenta reds in the shadows of the skin. Look at her fingers, arm, really nice color separation. This skin tone is perfect for me. Okay, so let's look at what we've done in our notes before and after, before and after. Really nice, warm, sunny look. And as I have the correct image now, I can go for more creative look here and create a night shot from it. I have this hard light and shadows in this image, and know that the sun and the moon are both small hard light sources. It's easy to grade this image to the night shot. Okay, so the night is darker, and our eyes do not see the red so well at night. Based on that, let's create a node before our glow. I'll name it day for night. So first of all, I need to darken this shot, and in this case I will not use my offset wheel. I will use HDR global exposure because it works in a linear mode. Let me show you the difference. Let's firstly switch our waveform to luminosity to see our blacks here. So if I go and drop down my offset, lower, you see my blacks are crashing already. But if I do the same in HDR global wheel, Look at it. It drops down in exposure but keeps my blacks and do not crash them. So I will leave it somewhere here by now. Then we'll go to my primary wheels and play around with them to darken it even more. I would drop down the gain a little bit. I'm not looking at the color of this shot now, I'm looking on an overall exposure. I want to get that night mood here, so I still want to drop my midtones by pushing gamma down, maybe even stronger, and then open my shadows to get back some details there, something like +4. As I see, my blacks are not crashed, but an overall image looks dark. Check it before and after. Okay, so as I know that I don't have to see these threads at night, I would go to my HDR global wheel and cool them down by pushing everything opposite of red towards cyan blue. Something like that. I would also reduce an overall saturation here, like so. Okay. Hair's weather is still too yellow for me, so I would go to the secondaries, hue versus saturation, and remove some yellow and green here. Fine, and maybe remove some cyan and blue too. Okay, I also want to keep my blacks black, so the easiest way to do that is to go to Luma versus saturation, grab the black point and desaturate it. Like that. And maybe a bit cooler in the global wheel. Less green, bit more magenta. Okay, I still feel that I want to add more light in her face. I'll do that in my HDR light wheel, push it up a bit, like so, and maybe a bit up with the shadows. Okay, so I think that it looks really believable as it was shot at night. Looks really nice for me, and we did that in only one adjustment node. Okay, so the last step I want to do, let's delete the LUT node, I don't need it anymore, and add the grain. As always, I love the enhancer for its amazing grain. Scroll down and disable all tools, because I don't need any film emulations here, I need the grain only. Enable the grain, we'll choose the custom mode. The grain is too big, so make it smaller. Also a bit less amount of grain, and desaturate it with chroma. I want my grain to be monochromatic here. Okay, let's scroll our shot. Yes, that looks fine for me. Once again, look at what we've done in only one node. This is daylight shot. Looks nice. And now it's nighttime shot. Okay, so let's select all adjustment nodes. I will leave the grain node active and see what we've done in this grade node by node. So first node was exposure, then balance, corrections, secondaries as the contrast, look, then glow, and the last as an example was day for night look. Great, let's watch it on the full screen. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. If you'll have any questions, let's talk in the comments below. But now, keep the perfect skin tones in your project, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!